5:31. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Uh, have three present. Give us the invocation.
Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for another day. Again, thank you for our town and for our council, for our staff, for our community. We just ask that you would give wisdom to our council and to our employees, Lord. We'd make decisions that would honor you. That you might grant wisdom to our staff. We might do our jobs well, Lord. And again, we just ask for wisdom for our council as they make and consider decisions that must be made on behalf of the town. We just thank you for another day. And just ask you might continue to bless our community in Christ's name. Amen.
Consideration of the 26-27 budget. We'll move right into it.
Mr. Mayor, we previously submitted to council on June the 1st copy of a draft fiscal year 26-27 budget. Hope council has had an opportunity to at least spend some time looking through that. There is a budget memo at the front of that budget. Just outlines some of the spending highlights. This budget is, I mean, there's not a lot from a capital outlay standpoint. There's not a lot from a use of fund balance standpoint. There's we've really tried to be a little, not necessarily tried to be conservative, but having to be conservative just by sheer available funding that available to be appropriated. And some of the funding that's already been appropriated that'll have to be carried over in the next year, such as the enterprise vehicles that are under lease. All those vehicles, of course, are a liability this year, and that cost is factored into the presented budget. Do have a handout we want to share with council just to talk through some of the remaining, at least some of the remaining items from staff standpoint. Councilman Dees, if you don't mind passing these down. One of the one of the big concerns is the need to increase water and sewer rates, and that's something that's been discussed at several of the past meetings. There is a draft handout from the rate study that was performed a few years back that projected the rate increases that the town should consider over the next 5 fiscal years. The current rates are the current outlined fiscal year 25 rates. Rates were not increased last year. That was delayed at the time and never revisited. What we're recommending this year is that rates be brought up to the recommendation presented in the rate study for this current fiscal year. So, for example, the in-town water for in-town base charge would increase from 1123 to 1280 as example, and we've gone ahead and factored in some additional revenue that would be received based on these rate increases in the presented budget. If these rate increases were not factored in, there would have not been enough revenue to balance the budget in Fund 30. That's how important the rate increases are, just based on our current spending and cost constraints that we have in Fund 30. The volumetric in-town charge, which would be for, that cost based on how much water you use. The base charge, obviously, just that base flat charge that's charged every month regardless. The volumetric charge in town um, for like a residential meter, for example, is would be proposed to increase from 387 to 435. So not quite a dollar increase on the volumetric charge, but then again, that's based on how much water you would then use. Altogether, when this was presented previously during the rate study, it was about a 4% increase each year, 4.5% increase, which equated to, I think, $3 or $4 per month, if I'm not mistaken, on the average residential water bill. So that's one of the main key points that I wanted to bring to council's attention in Fund 30. I don't know if there's any questions about that, or I could continue through the highlights from the draft budget as presented in the draft budget.
So just for clarity, manager, what are you proposing for the water and sewer rate increase? You have current and then you have fiscal year 27. And I'm
So
assuming because you have the error there, that's
yeah,
what you're suggesting, correct?
yes, that council would increase to the fiscal year 27 projected rates, which this budget is the fiscal year 27
And
budget.
so any of the base charge rates are 1,999 gallons and below, and anything on the volumetric charge is 2,000 and above. Am I understanding that correct?
The base charge is just a flat rate that is has nothing to do with your consumption. It's just charged. So we do have some accounts that they may not use water that month, but they would still get charged that base charge. And then the volumetric is if you're using above 2,000 gallons, correct?
I can't tell a difference in mine, but I know some people can, especially when they got like $20 water bill, 25, then see it.
When you see your bill, you won't see it broken down this way. I don't think it's broken down this way on the bill.
No,
I think you just see a water cost. So, but the underlying formula in our accounting system will be broke. It would be broken. It already is broken down this way, but we would just be adjusting those rates.
And these rates, I can't differentiate between residential and commercial or institutional.
So in town will be your residential, and then in town above 2 inch
That would be all commercial accounts.
would be more of your commercial accounts. And then there's the institutional is the university, and then the PHA is Pembroke Housing Authority.
Can you provide a projected revenue delta?
For the expected revenue for each, yeah, we can provide that.
Your flat rate increase, you said it was less than a dollar?
Yes, it's currently 11.23. Um, well, it's for the water, it's a little more than a dollar. Um, well, it's a little more than a dollar. So it's currently 11.23, and then it's projected to be increased to 12.80. That's a flat. That's a flat charge. That's per household, and then obviously, as you go up from there, is your commercial flat rate and your institutional flat rate. The So in Fund 30, on page 17 of 23, our water and sewer collections, the current budget was $2,650,000. And then conservatively, just using a kind of a conservative number for the time being, um, the revenue, and it likely would be a little more, um, But we're proposing that would generate at least $150,000 in additional revenue for Fund 30. It's not quite 10% for every uh, user, so we would have to go in and provide a breakdown for that. We could do that for the next regular meeting. Just for the purposes of the budget, we're showing an increase of 150 grand expected to be received because of the rate changes. If there's no if there's no other questions on the water and sewer, I can just continue sharing some other highlights from the draft budget. As outlined in the budget message, I've proposed and I'm showing a 3% across the board employee cost of living increase. Again, there's minimal capital outlay. We've brought over our recurring costs from the current budget. The only capital outlay that we're showing, just from a need to be conservative, we are showing replacing or trading in would that be considered a mini excavator, Pierre?
Yes.
Trading that in for the piece of equipment that Pierre requested in his budget request. We did include, as you can see in the budget message, I did include replacing some soccer goals that are in need of replacement at the park. Police department body worn cameras. We're hopeful that a grant was submitted for that. We're hopeful that we'll receive that grant. We'll know by the third week in June. So I guess maybe next week we'll hear back on that. We've gone ahead and for the time being, we do have some of that grant money that would offset that cost included in the budget as a placeholder. That's really the only capital outlay in either fund that's proposed, just simply due to budget availability. I'm proposing minimal use of fund balance. Use of $45,000 in reserves is proposed in Fund 30, and use of $65,000 in fund balance or savings is proposed in Fund 10. In the past, we have used and have proposed higher use of higher fund balance levels, but just because of some of the money that was spent over the past year and because of some of the increased capital outlay that we have recurring costs, that was not proposed this year, primarily because of some of the costs that was spent during the fiscal year on the land acquisitions.
2.8 that you have requested, does that factor in the rate increase?
Conservatively, yes. It probably would be a little more, and we can crunch the numbers a little more on that, present that at the next meeting.
That's kind of a ballpark.
We
of what
fact-
you've embedded in there.
Yes,
Is it 150?
yes. And without that, we were in the negative in Fund 30. Just a couple other highlights from the budget. Just bringing the council's attention that some of the contributing increases in cost, obviously everything is more expensive that we buy and all, pretty much every third party that we use, they're increasing their rates every year. But also property and liability, which that's one of those that's increasing every year, but because of the insurance requirements for some of those newer vehicles and also some of the wrecks that we've experienced, that's contributed to that cost. Obviously, inflation has contributed to all of our increased cost as everyone's experiencing. Healthcare, town has a small self-insured health program. and we did experience several max claims this year. So we're going to experience an increase there as well, and then also increased gas cost as well. If council has any questions about any of that or anything that they saw in the draft budget or questions about why something wasn't included. Sorry. It really, I mean, it's not that we didn't want to honor some of these other requests that came in. It's just a matter of funding availability. Um, both Fund 10 and Fund 30 is tight, particularly Fund 30 without the water and sewer rate increases. If there's not any questions about any of that or any comments that council had on the draft budget, there were a few items that were raised at the last meeting and another item that came up in between now and the last meeting that need to be resolved or that we as staff need some guidance from council on to prepare the final budget. And those are those unresolved items that I have on the handout there. We received an email from Councilman Dees asking the town if the town intends to continue its arrangement with Robeson County, the interlocal agreement that the town has with Robeson County 911. That has now expired.
Oh, I thought we were looking at kind of doing our own thing with that.
I mean, it's been talked about several times.
Didn't we get pricing and stuff already?
I mean, I know the police department was gathering pricing for
Yeah.
like the 911 phone, but I haven't received any further information on that.
Is the current budget got what we're doing now embedded in it?
Yes.
What we're doing now with the interlock agreement is we got it budgeted.
Yeah, it's in the police department's budget. There's a communications expense line item. That's where that's being paid currently. Councilman Dees probably could elaborate on behalf of the county. I don't know if the county would hold the cost or if there would be any cost increase associated with those services. We haven't had that conversation yet. This is something that came in via email this past week.
Yeah, I was notified by our finance department, by my finance department that the contract, they keep an eye on the contracts or whatever. I wasn't even aware that it's actually, if you look at it, I think it expired in April.
Yes.
It was, and that's when I honestly think that they were looking at contracts because of the whole thing they were going through with their budgeting. They found that this contract was dead, and I got an email sent to me that told me that I needed to, forward this over to the town of Pembroke to see what the town of Pembroke was gonna do. And then that's when I realized it was actually expired already. And that's when I emailed it to Tyler. Now, what I will say is, this is the last, town that we have a contract in that hasn't went up to the next fee increase. So everybody now, for years outside, or is at a $20 per head per citizen rate. This contract, the one you just got out of, the one expired is at a a $15 per head. That is the current rate increase across every other, town that we dispatch for that has been set. We done the same period because for a long period of time, we didn't have a written contract with you guys. So we done the same number of years once a written contract was done. We kept that agreement, just like we done all the other small towns for the same number of years, and then we went to $20 for everybody else. You guys are the last ones to come aboard to the actual set fixed rate now of 20. Or what would be 20.
$5 increase.
Which would equate to what, about a $15,000 overall increase? And that $20 per resident, that's for 911, fire. That's for everything, correct? I mean, that's, I mean, I assume the county obviously is going to continue fielding those calls while we, get some sort of response from council. Um, for the time being, I mean, I assume we would need to operate kind of on a continuing service arrangement basis, especially, I mean, that doing something different couldn't be resolved prior to our next regular meeting, so. But this is something that will need to be addressed. I'm not sure what timetable county needs. But I'm sure I anticipate they would want to hear something from the town soon. The term for your other agreements, are they 3 years as well?
And I have had a conversation with the manager, and she doesn't foresee right now, of that $20 changing. Cause it's been it was $15 for forever. And so just here lately, she went to the 20. And so there's no talk, there's no concern of her moving further than $20 as of right now.
And I've reached out to Councilman D shortly after he came on board. I mean, because this is conversation that he's been a part of prior to coming on the council, but that 911 service provision conversation is one that the board needs to have again. I mean, obviously, this deciding whether to renew the agreement or not, you'll need to have that conversation again as well.
Um, and speaking on the budget and in the same means of this, I'm a little concerned, and I had a conversation with the chief about that. The town, he didn't budget any money for Viper radios or for a particular Viper channel. Um, so that's concerning because as of right now, and I think we had this conversation already, where the town of Pembroke, they're the last ones in the county to actually have a dedicated channel. Um, and so we looked at the cost, we got him the cost. Now, at this point, which Highway Patrol is requiring there to be a cost. And when in his budget presentation, he didn't ask for that. He
Oh,
didn't,
we already have those.
Huh?
We already got those. He didn't get them.
the radios themselves,
Yeah.
he has he
don't
has
have
a
a
radio.
channel.
But the town of Pembroke does not have its own dedicated channel to dispatch off of.
How much difference is that?
What would that channel cost?
About 155,
$155,000.
one channel.
Yeah, and then they might
they
change
want
the
two
channel,
channels.
they might change the channel next year.
No. What I'm saying is to have, right now, if the Pembroke Police Department chooses to switch over and start using the statewide interoperability network every day for their radio system, they don't have a channel. They would have to be on a channel with somebody and share with another agency. There's not a dedicated channel for the town of Pembroke. In order for the town of Pembroke to get its own channel, $155,000 per channel.
It's response time, the way it is now, set up now, difference.
Well, they don't use Viper at all.
But-
We're talking about just the capability to use that particular radio system. And they're not using that they're not using that radio. They have radio system. They have the radios. I think I got a text message today. I think they got 6 portables and 2 in cars, but they don't talk on those.
Connection now with the county with what we got. What,
They're still on the old radio system that
what
that everybody else has left.
what happens, okay, if something happens, a call, and we still got old system, and and they don't have Viper, so what happens?
Then the Pembroke Police Department's on the island all by itself. That's the whole point in being on the interoperability statewide network. That's why even Roland, Red Springs, Maxton, all those have already converted over and doing on a day-to-day operational period. That's the radio system they're using. Sheriff's Office, EMS, Lumberton PD, everybody.
They can be in
And that's
connection.
that's concerning to me Because in his presentation, and I had a conversation with him about that, you know, here you are, the last town in this county to not be on this radio system, you know, and still in your budget presentation, we're asking for body cameras, we're asking for trailer cameras, we're asking for all this, but yet, you know, you don't have enough of radios. If you had a channel, you don't have enough of radios to be operational on. Not only do you not have enough of radios, you don't even have an own channel to work on. But we, you know, that's, that's one of them kind of situations, which is concerning to me. You know, because, not because I'm on the town council, because I'm a resident of this town and I know the impact that it plays. And now that I'm on the town council, you know,
Do you have a figure of what it costs to be on the county, the number of people we have?
it's
And
just
so-
like, the number don't matter. The only,
Well, you said $20 a person.
oh, that's for the 911 phone system, for us answering the 911 calls and doing all that. What I'm talking about is just the actual radio system itself. That's
How-
outside of that.
How duplicative of the services that we're providing right now, Chad, in your opinion?
How,
What are the duplicative services that we're providing because we have what we have and we're
every one of them. The only thing that's not being duplicated is in when somebody calls the 521 number, right? So here's how it works. When somebody in this town calls 521-4333, it goes to that, it rings in there on a regular desktop phone like this right here. When they answer that 521-4333 number, they can't tell where them people are. All they see is the phone number that they're calling from. Now, if them people on there want a police officer, then they go to the radio and they send them a police officer. If they're calling 521-4333 and they need fire or EMS, they transfer those people to us. We talk to them, we ask them the same questions that they've just been asked by the police department. And then we dispatch the fire department or EMS or rescue, right? Anybody in this town, same scenario, if anybody in this town from their house or their cell phone, they call 911. Every one of those come to us. If it's for police, fire, EMS, or rescue, we dispatch it all. We don't send nothing back here. So that, the individuals that are sitting over there in that comm center, the only time they answer a phone is when the 521-4333 or the 5487 answers, and they need police only. They dispatch it. Everything else is either wise transferred to us and we dispatch it over the radio.
How many employees do we have currently in our dispatch center? Manager, full-time and part-time?
We typically have 4 full-time, so, you know, around the clock, one position, one dispatcher around the clock. We normally have several part-timers as well.
Say seven.
We normally at least have, I mean, we've had, you know, up to 4 or 5, but I mean, they might work once every now and then.
I mean, I'm doing math here. Somewhere between $200,000 and $250,000 budget for that.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Mhm.
For duplicate service? That's your choice.
What it costs with counties, $55,000.
What it's gonna cost the county, right there is what you're looking at it at $20 a person.
Yeah.
We're already paying that. I mean, that's on top of what we're.
You did say the highway patrol is no longer granting the new licenses, or
Not for free.
Mhm.
That's why,
Or you can buy them?
that's the $155,000
Okay.
per channel.
Okay.
Ain't nobody gonna give them up and they know the highway patrol ain't giving any more away. And now it's to the point where you gotta pay for them. Ain't nobody gonna give you what they already got, cause they know if they give away and then they need another, they're gonna have to pay $155,000. They ain't gonna do that. I'm just,
Reason they were wanting two was one for the fire and one for police, where they'd be on the separate channel. Now, because they'd be talking over each other.
they don't need one fire.
They can stay with the regular.
They'll get their own phone to be activated and do all that, and then they'll be given one of the channels that we have on a temporary basis to talk on, just like any other fire department does, attack channel, and then when that calls over, then that frees that channel back up and it becomes back available again. That, they absolutely, that, they don't need that.
That's the way when I was on the part.
That's concerning to me, considering the nature of the business that I work in on an everyday basis. For instance, you know, during Hurricane Matthew, where we got slapped in the face is, and that's why a lot of agencies then, when Hurricane Matthew came, nobody in this county was utilizing Viper on an everyday basis. And then you had all these officers from all across the state and all these EMS people come here, and then they brought their radios with them. And they were like, well, just tell us what channel y'all's on. We can work off of it, whatever the case might be. We hadn't switched over. So we were, you know, sitting there. So now that's, we don't have those situations anymore. We're on the statewide network where everybody else is. So it don't matter. Just like for when Lumbee Homecoming comes in, you know, it don't matter. Probation and parole, highway patrol comes in here, sheriff's office or whatever. Everybody's got the same, a copy of the exact same channels for any agency in the whole state. So we just tell you what channel to go to. That particular channel is what we're gonna use that day, and everybody has that channel. You know, that's interoperability. And the police department has the radios and they have those channels in there. They don't have enough of radios for everybody, but they don't have their own channel like they have now on the older system to talk around and do operate on every day. They don't have that.
How much a delay is if you call the 521 number versus the 911 number?
The 911 number, there ain't no delay. It's coming straight to us. Your delay is when it's getting answered over there and it's being switched to us.
Much delay is that?
Depends on how long they keep them on the phone. The time they transfer, 1 second, 2 seconds, we're picking up. But see, what you're having is people's calling over there and they're having to find out, you know, what's your name, what's your address, what do you need, right? And then when they find out, I need ambulance, or I need a rescue, or I need the fire department, they've already been on the phone with them 30, 45 seconds, and then they switch them to us, right? And then when we get them, we're asking the same questions, right? And then we dispatch the fire department.
You're probably getting, most times somebody has something going on wrong, they're gonna.
Right, right. They're
probably get
pretty much
majority
calling.
calls, yeah, than me.
And see, when you call 911, that's with the phone system we have, and calling 911 gives us the capability to see where they're at, to have all that location, to track them and do all that kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah, cause 521, I'm ain't gonna track nothing. You can't see
the
that.
only thing you see is the number they're calling from.
Yeah.
Is it you know, is it a disadvantage for this town, the citizens in this town, the service that they're getting handed to them now? Yes, it is. Because, you know, if I'm gonna tell you, you know, if anybody passes out or anybody goes in cardiac arrest and they don't call 911, it's delayed service out the gate. It's delayed.
I mean, who would be using that 4333? Just somebody that's lived in town and is accustomed to calling that? The businesses, I know they have it, yeah.
Because for a long time, we've had to transition the mindsets of people for years because they felt like if it weren't like their emergency was like somebody's passed out or whatever, you know, like the stores and all that, for just somebody fighting in the parking lot, they'll call the 4333 number because they don't feel like that's an emergency. But what we've had to train people to say is, it is an emergency and we need you to call 911, not because of that, but we need you to call 911 because of all the things that trigger once you dial those numbers. They've just had this mindset where that ain't a real emergency. I'll just call the police department's administrative line.
But mindset is, you say, I'm in Pembroke and I'm gonna call Pembroke Police Department. They're not gonna call the Sheriff Department.
No, this is in
But-
1999 when I worked in dispatch. I worked at the police department, and that's what we encountered then.
Well,
That
I'm
people
saying
would
the
just call the
people's mindset.
4333 number because they felt like, you know, if you come home and somebody's knocked your mailbox over, right? They don't think that constitutes dialing those 3 digits, because it's just somebody's knocked my mailbox over, right? So they feel like for that, they should just dial the 4333. You know, now, obviously, if they're at a cookout and somebody's leg gets cut yeah, that's totally different, but we want them to call 911 for everything because of what triggers when you dial those numbers. You can see that tracking, you get all that caller's information, you see all that, because if you don't, then those are questions that they have to ask, you know what I mean? Because when they dial 911, we get every bit of that information, we don't have to ask it. But when you're getting people that's calling the 4333 number and they're getting transferred to us, when we get a transfer on an administrative line, you don't get, where they're at. You can't track them. You can't find out all that stuff. You have to physically ask that. That's why the people here is at a disadvantage because they're irritable because they're transferred and then they're like, well, you just asked me these same questions. And then my people's like, no, that weren't us. That was the police department. Now we're having to ask you these questions. So they're wanting to know why you keep asking me these same questions. You know, police department needs Viper radios. They need Viper radios. They need their own channel. The town don't have the money to do it. I'm like Shannon, if you look at the numbers, you know, there is a way to get there. Now, the one thing that I would say, which is what every town has done, is they've maintained one person. That's, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, for this, for to be administrative assistant for their police department. Maxton has it, Red Springs has it, Fairmont has it. They've always just kept at least one individual in there, and that's the hours. And then after 5 o'clock, they transfer their 4333 number and their 5487 number, they transfer it to us. So, and then we keep that number until they come in the next morning at 8 o'clock. They transfer that number back. They answer Pembroke Police Department, whatever the case might be. So that's how it works in all the other small towns. That's the cost that the town would have to incur per channel, buying radios. And then when you talk about a phone system, the phone system, if you were to go back and take back your 911 lines from us and not pay this agreement and buy your own phone system, that's $300,000 off the top.
So, I mean, I guess we may need to set a special meeting potentially to just finalize, talk through that. But I assume the county, considering this agreement expired in March, continue to honor. I mean, I assume they would do that anyway, so.
Because we didn't. For years.
Huh?
We didn't pay nothing for years. Get free service.
Don't advertise that.
Yeah, no.
There were a couple other items that were raised at the last meeting, the last budget workshop. Sacred Pathways donation request was one of those. Also, council local donations. Councilman Rudy mentioned the possibility of expanding those local donations budgets. Uh, and then the Pembroke Library, they annually typically ask for additional funding. They've asked for $2,000 increase. And one of the last item I have there is a proposed increase for commercial non-residential trash, possibly somewhere in the $10 a month range. We haven't, it's been quite a few years since we last increased commercial trash rates. And so that's needed to offset the additional cost that the town is incurring through the new contract and just increased collection cost and increased landfill cost and increased landfill fees as well. Town hasn't increased our uh, commercial rates even since the county last, probably not since the last two times the county's increased their commercial landfill disposal cost. So we're propose that's not reflected in the current draft budget, but that's something that's needed and would likely be included in a final budget if council's supportive of that.
A quick question. The line. They use it, is that for salaries or is that for other stuff?
Yeah, it's used for salaries primarily. We can provide a handout, but it primarily offsets the cost of the librarian and their part-time help.
I got a question. So I know they're asking for an increase for that too. But something needs to be done to fascia outside, man. The whole front of the library. They gotta do some painting, they gotta replace the wood.
Now
It's
that's,
horrible.
that's the town's building, so
We got, yeah, we need.
yeah,
to
we
fix
could,
that.
we need to, that does
Get
need to be
that.
addressed.
I saw it the other day, I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's in need of some improvement.
Yeah,
And we did.
yeah,
Where the storms.
yeah, it looks bad.
So is the Sacred Pathways and the library a per annum request?
Yes.
And what was Rudy asking about on the council local donations? What was he talking about?
My understanding, he wanted to eliminate the line item we have for general donations. So, for example, if somebody comes here and asks for a donation for something, or if town bought a table that council didn't buy, using council's local donations, we would spend or buy it out of that line item. It's a line item in the donation budget. My understanding, Miss Marie, what was your understanding, that he wanted to increase the local donation amount? I think it's $2,000 a year currently. So you want to take that number up per council and then take the other general kind of discretionary number in the budget for donations down. That's,
But isn't that budgeted number something that we've agreed upon about our donations
Donations.
annually? Or what are you proposing to take out?
so this is on page 12 of 23 in the budget.
Yeah, but the budget's not gonna tell you what those are.
Yeah, so local donations, there's a $10,000 allowance, and then the other line item that I'm referring to is the contributions and donations,
That's it, like,
and I'm not sure why that's.
I think what Rudy was saying is that instead of the town buying tables and all that kind of stuff, that the net money would be distributed to the local councilman and or to be more put in your discretionary funds and all that. I personally don't really care for that because I think that you're taking away from an event saying it's sponsored by the town of Pembroke when you're gonna give each council member more money to just say, well, this is sponsored by this particular council member only. I think that it brings a sense of, you know, it's better when the sponsorship is coming from the town of Pembroke. There should be some things that council should want to sponsor themselves, but, you know, instead of the town, you ever going to anything and it says it's never sponsored by the town of Pembroke, it's always gonna be sponsored by individual councilmen.
I like the way we got now because like, just say, it's the town of Pembroke, just say we
Right.
can't go, we automatically get to take this first. I can't Meyer, I can't Marie, I can't Pierre, like, hey, yeah, we don't go, yeah, they can go.
Well, I think it's getting our name out there, showing that the town itself sponsored these events, not necessarily a particular councilman.
Yeah.
I mean, you already get a couple dollars to do what you want to do privately or individually. But I think there are some things that the sponsorship needs to be legitly in the name of the town.
Yeah, especially like T. Pierce or, you know, you're doing something for the UNCP. I don't, you know, that's the town thing that we give out, you know, anything like that. Now, if you golf tournaments, they sponsor individually.
Individual.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I'm happy the way it is now.
I do have one thing, and I don't know how to make this happen. I'll just task Tyler with it. And I had a conversation with Shannon. I don't know if it's ever came up before, but I'd like to see us at some kind of point, some kind of way, part-time, full-time, or whatever. I can't believe that it hasn't happened already with the fire department. I know that, I know y'all don't want to hear it, but I can't believe that the town of Pembroke has done the phenomenal job that they've done already without somebody being somewhere on the payroll. On a part-time status or at least one full-time person at that fire department. I would like to see us try to see what we could do about getting some help over there, paid help part-time. I understand the whole benefit of working with the county. You bring somebody on full-time, it ain't just their salary, you got all these benefits. Kelly Blue forces that down our throat. I understand that. But, I would like to see some help for the fire department, because I'm telling you, the thing with these fire departments, and I ain't gonna call names, but there's been a couple of fire departments in this county that's already had to close its doors. We got one that's fixing to close its doors now, the next week. It's closing down, a prominent fire department, because the restrictions and the requirements that the state fire marshal's office is putting down on these fire departments, these volunteer fire departments, they're lining up just like a paid fire department. We're gonna get to the point where you ain't gonna have enough of time for volunteers to come and do that. You already got 8 volunteer fire departments in this county that has paid people at their station merely because of that. And, now I think that the fire department in their presentation really superly overshot the runway, what asking for 4. But honestly, guys, there's no question about there being a need for that fire department for somebody.
Chad, let me ask a question. So, Q Hill, when Campbell Soup has to pay something to them, does our current industry in town, any of our industries in town have to pay some form of fee toward the fire department to support?
Not that I'm aware of, just the tax revenue.
Just,
What triggers that? Like, what triggers that thing from Campbell Soup?
to give.
Because it's substantial.
It's taxes, it's their.
Fire tax they pay, yeah,
Fire tax.
fire
It's
tax.
their fire tax.
But the town won't do, town of Pembroke don't do a fire tax. We need to. Calabash, the town of Calabash is like,
If you're gonna do it,
Bukus.
that's the way you implement it. You
Yeah.
create a line item that we can revenue off of. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I mean, I know there's times where, when they say they need a position, would need somebody. But guys, I'm telling you, I've been in the fire service for 27 years. Now's the time, the days of volunteering is over. Nobody's doing that.
Does the Pembroke rule and their assignment to the university, what type of funding do they get based upon the university?
I don't know, did they?
they're getting more
I
funding than
think
we
they
do.
get maybe just an allotment at times through the General Assembly. But they don't get like a dedicated source every time.
Somebody's getting some.
Like, that ladder truck that they got came because through that. But
Tyler, can you do a research on municipalities and creating a fire tax in a local municipality?
Yeah.
To see what kind of range of rates that looks like. I mean, that.
Red Springs, Fairmont, Lumberton's got them already.
Red Springs has got, I can tell you, Red Springs got.
They got paid people, and I don't know how they're
four
paying.
part- They got 4 part-time guys, and they got 1 chief, and they got a secretary in the middle, but the part-time guys work 8 to 5. Volunteers
There's
come
a
in. at night.
rescue as well, right? Isn't there combined rescue?
That's what's in the news.
Red Springs,
Now, is their fire
they're
tax only
straight
on
up
commercial,
fire.
or is it
they're
across the
EMS
board
through
on
the fire.
residential?
They don't have,
So
rescue.
I'd be supportive of it if it was a commercial. And
But you
matter of fact,
got-
Yeah,
I would tie it to our
But you got
ability to
Q
serve
Hill,
the university and all.
you got Q
That's where I
Hill,
would draw.
Evans Crossroads, Lumber Bridge, Parkton Fire, Deep Branch Fire Department, Allington Fire Department, East Houseville Fire Department, Northwoods Fire Department. All those fire departments already have at a minimum 1 person.
2, when we were volunteer that one time, we was paying 4 people salaries.
I mean, I think
They don't get anything from the
There is-
university.
their request for help is
The
legitimate.
rules don't
It's
get
legitimate.
everything from it.
And I think if we don't try to help them, we're not doing justice.
So you're saying you'd like to see that reflected somehow in the upcoming budget?
I mean, yeah, I would, because I'm telling you. Because the,
Well, first responders too, so that's an added plus,
But-
you know?
The NAFA, they're fixing to change, it's coming in December. Here's what I do know. Right now, on every structure fire, you have to have 1 engine and 4 firemen there. In December, that changes to 1 truck and 6 firemen. on every structure fire, barn, house, anything that's a structure. If you don't meet that requirement, when the state comes back and does your rating, or the rating that you have now, that low rating that your people, that citizens of this town's getting, that low fire insurance or homeowners insurance, that rating's gonna shoot up. Because you're not meeting that requirement. Right now, it's 4 and a truck. In December, it will be 6 in a truck. And in the daytime hours, that's what's causing these volunteer firemen to do that. Because in the daytime, when you talk, they're struggling right now to get 4. When we dispatch a fire department during the daytime, we're having to dispatch 4 volunteer fire departments to a house fire. And you know why? To get enough people out of 4 fire departments going to 1 call to meet that requirement. In December, when it goes to 6 people, I don't know what we're gonna do. Now, after 5 o'clock, there's not a problem anywhere in this county after 5 o'clock of having 4 people and a truck at a call. But during the daytime, it's a struggle to have right now 4 people at a call. And you're dispatching 4 fire departments at now, and I can tell you that.
Do these foremen get anything for going, I think they used to get so much for every fire that they went to.
Yeah, they're compensated per call.
Now, Pembroke,
It's 15, is it 15 in town or 20 in town, 15 mutual aid, one of those.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you dispatch a fire and rescue, who's gonna get the first fire? Every single time.
We need to help them.
well, it might be that you could increase that and not necessarily hire somebody and they'd have more incentive to go.
You got to have somebody there.
For the day.
When they page them in 90 seconds, they want that truck out the door.
It'd be like me, you come picking things out.
I mean,
There's some incentives out there. We just gotta get a grant. Somebody's gotta help, we gotta get some help with writing a grant with that because there's,
for pay, to do, for
Yeah.
payment.
yeah, we can get that.
Well, I mean,
There's grants out there for it.
let's create a
Yeah.
revenue source for it.
That-
Let's
that
let's
also-
find the in, and then you'll have an out.
Yeah.
We need to do.
So managers, let's do this. I mean, this is my suggestion. Let's look at how others construct it, because a Walmart should pay different than a convenience store or vice versa. Look at the commercial rates, and then let's figure out a sense to do that. And then for the institutional rate, we'll look at some kind of mutual aid between us and Pembroke Rule. We gotta have
That's not
buffers.
gonna create any revenue of mutual aid.
It'll be the same revenues that we have for what we're doing with the fire tax. Be the same.
Well, they're the ones gonna get the far tax from that, but
No,
that's
that-
outside the city limits.
I understand, but that's why I'm doing a mutual aid. It's so that it goes to both departments.
And you don't have to get them to agree to give it up. To do that.
I understand.
Not gonna give up any money.
You don't know until you ask. So let's figure out what that rate looks like. The point is creating a revenue source so you can balance your budget.
It ain't gonna go away. The need for personnel, for volunteer fire departments ain't going away. It's just gonna get to the point. Need more. I agree with Shannon on looking for a way for revenue because it's gonna be here. The days of people volunteering their time and going to a call for $5. This young generation and the people just value their time anymore. The days of volunteering is over.
Call Chief Ammons at Red Springs. He's got that, he's got like 4 volunteers, 8 to 5. I think he has 2, like works, one or
The
2.
Hammonds or Ammons?
John
John Ammons, yeah.
Ammons.
Ammons.
And, Red Springs, man, they don't have rescue squad.
Yeah, but they're not solving either.
No.
I'm more interested in the rate structure. If I can understand the rate
Yeah.
structure, we can figure out a business line item to get to. I just need to see the rate structure.
We can start that way, and then I'd still pursue some grants for the long run to help us later on.
Yeah, I mean, we've applied for some of those grants in the past too. They're highly competitive, but we've applied for some unsuccessfully.
town fire department, they're gonna automatically
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
prioritize those legit volunteer rural fire departments over the town.
Mhm.
That's what's hurting us. Better for me in Evans Cross. Councilman.
Manager, I got to jump to another meeting.
Okay. The other thing, I know Myra and Councilman Dees have been working on a live after 5. So I don't know if y'all want to discuss that now as part of the budget.
Is it like a quarterly thing or you looking at the lumber to
Look at here what we got for you. Wait a
Fine,
minute.
yeah.
You are paying
Myra,
James in the quarter. Talking to anybody.
Mayor, yeah, I got a few
unplug?
unplugged after
Man,
five.
that. And a Myra.
You know,
I'm joking.
So
This be held at?
in the Milton Down Memorial Fort Fire. So me and Myra, we come together, honestly, in the spirit of Miss Teresa, giving credit where credit is due. She was one of the best ones in the town at having events and doing for the town. And in her presence or in her absence, there's this one thing we thought that we would like to create and try to keep going. And it's been such a positive thing for the.
I did it for 3 years now. I did the
Um,
first 3 years.
Well, we're just trying to keep it going and make it better.
That's
Um,
the summer jam. We're still going.
This,
to create.
so this would do, we wanted to, me and Amira, we brainstorm on this thing, doing it in the fall when it's cool, of doing it there. Amira has put a tremendous amount of work in it, honestly. We got, as what you see on August the 13th, 27th, and the 10th of September, the 24th of September, and October the 8th. And we tried to make it where you see a lot of country, I understand, but then we chose 5 events, not by accident, by choice, where we could insert a gospel night right dab in the middle of the 2 country nights. So we'll have like 2 country nights, and then the gospel night, and then 2 country nights after that. And she's worked with the food vendors, and I'll let her talk about it. Go, Myra.
Okay, so I've reached out to several local bands, so you see those, and then the food vendors. And I've reached out to several folks about donations. So I feel like I can get quite a few sponsors. I've already spoken with them personally and they've committed. So, I mean, at some point I can give you those numbers to let you look at it, but right now we're looking at about $22,000. That's for 5 days.
How much sponsorship's been committed?
I have gotten right off the top of my head, $5,000 or $6,000.
But we didn't really, but in saying that too, we didn't really want to go after it really hard
Yeah.
because we just created these documents. We just created the sponsorship opportunities tab. But so we didn't want to start,
Until we got approved.
until we
Yeah.
got approval from council.
Mhm.
We haven't asked, the county. I feel like the county would tap into this. I feel like that. I've had some conversations on that. But again, in the old saying, we didn't want to put the cart in front of the horse before
Yeah.
we brought this to council and, ran it by them and got y'all's thoughts.
Is that, I know, did you mention the stage while ago, Pierre?
Yes,
What were you talking about stage?
this is for, not for that.
Oh,
This would
okay.
be for like other events. We would have, matter of fact, we're getting ready to have one down at the park. Next Saturday, I believe it is. Then there's gonna be one in August that they want to have. And that podium, that stage we got from the college,
Mhm.
it's just so heavy.
Yeah,
I mean, you can really pull a muscle in your back with that thing. That's
So-
the reason they got rid of it.
so what we're using basically is that,
Well, when you see on here, the sound chosen generation, they do the sound and the stage.
oh, okay.
They have real massive stage that they set up and do, and that's why that cost is so high, that $10,000. That's what they be providing, the sound and the
Like the
stage.
setup they got,
Yeah.
I guess, in downtown Lumberton where they got that where the water fountain's at.
I
Yeah.
don't have any problem with it as long as you got the sponsorship to put it on.
So you don't want you don't want the town to contribute anything to this?
Well,
What about?
I mean,
50-50
We're
situation?
trying to,
We
I mean,
feel
we,
like
now,
that-
obviously what we're not trying to, just not go after sponsors. That is gonna be the ultimate goal, to
Yeah.
get it fully funded, on that.
I think it's a good idea to get people involved, just like, what's that, the, LRDA is doing?
That
Yeah,
people's
that's
table.
People's
Yeah.
table. That's the-
Yeah.
So now, is this something that we're trying to raise money for something too? Might, or we're not gonna make anything off of it,
All we're doing is trying to cover the cost.
Mhm.
ever comes?
I mean, you could even approach like apartment complexes, villages that hunters run. I mean, they might be willing to support something like this for their residents.
And we didn't wanna, like I said, we didn't wanna,
The only one that I really talked to is EMC. And I feel like he said he wanted to sponsor all 5 nights.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like he'll be the one to do the sound system. Cover that cost, that's hefty money.
we need to look in, I mean, if we're gonna continue to do this, like, let me just ask a question. At Christmas, when y'all do all that, do y'all use Chosen Generation again for stage and sound and all that?
No, we've not used them at Christmas. We do our own stage and.
Is that the stage you're referring to,
That's
Pierre?
Maybe when he's talking about, we use that for.
At
for Christmas.
$10,000, if we continue to do things like this and we have events, twice at this thing, we could buy our own sound system.
Well, they've also agreed to sit down with us and talk to us about a permanent stage.
And tourism would definitely help with
Let's
an
say
event
tourism
like this
definitely for
too.
that. Miss Marie?
Turned her eyes that way.
What?
Discuss that, but I know we got to do some stuff.
I mean, for the event at least, helping with the event.
take you something that could raise some money if the town would open back up the Milton Hunt Park for vendors during the 4th of July week. And not necessarily put food trucks up there. They could generate a lot of money. It's in the central location of town.
Is it outfitted to do all that? Is there power and
Yeah.
enough to?
That's the reason you don't do the food trucks. That's the reason you do the little
Now,
individual.
we did put a bunch of power, we did put temporary stuff,
They
but,
got it, they don't have it split up in,
yeah.
they don't have it split up in
Yeah.
zone. It's just a bunch of.
There's a
chickens.
major hump in the middle of that park we had to put in for drainage.
Yeah.
That's a concern, safety issue.
It
We need
needs
to-
to be drained.
That needs to be done.
Kind of hump.
You didn't notice that when you walked through there? Get there?
Um,
I know there used to be a gazebo out there was a hump.
That's still out there.
They
So
tore it
we,
down.
so EMC's gonna give us,
But that would generate a lot of money for the town.
so if
It's just like
EMC's
the
locked
golf
in to
cart
give us
permit.
5,000 and we get a platinum spot for 2,500 from Dow's hauling and septic tank and rock service.
Yeah.
There will be at 7,500 right there. If we get $2,500,
Oh, we might need to reschedule.
Did you hear what he said? He started off on you.
He heard Dow Insurance. That's what he heard, Dow Insurance.
Top three, man.
We get $500 for every business you got. For your cafe, your laundromat, your hauling and all that there. We just get $500 from every one of your businesses. We'll be at $2,500 sponsor for you. We'll list them all.
He'll get Alexis Jones.
It would be where,
Street festival cruises, yeah.
I like that idea. I've always wanted to go back in there. That's where it always originated from before.
You don't want to give me that money for my little thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can say that.
Talk about this in here. He's all the time wanting somebody to give.
Are you talking about doing that this year or next year? I'm talking about the vendors.
generate a fee. If people didn't want to go, they don't have to go. But I guarantee you, you'll have a lot that would love to be in there. That used to be the central part
Mhm.
of the Lumbee homecoming.
Yeah, that was it. That's all it was. Was in that park on Saturday.
Pretty much just saying arts and crafts.
Yeah, the arts and craft and jewelry people and stuff like that. Stuff that wouldn't have to have, electricity and stuff out there.
Cause I think it's gonna be overcrowded this year. You're gonna need some kind of space.
You're gonna have more people coming in here than you ever seen.
So what is y'all's, what's the opinion of the council? Y'all give me and Amira,
Go ahead and move forward.
y'all give me and Amira permission to move forward with that? And then,
Go raise you some money.
okay, all right. That's okay. I want you to keep that same opinion. I want you to keep that same opinion. All right. Okay. Let them bring something to us, Myra. They want our support. For it.
Tell you, raise you some money
That's
and then
all right.
We got
go
that.
with it.
We got that.
Full speed.
Yeah, I mean, that money could be gathered probably pretty easily.
Go and start advertising for it so we can,
I need to start.
yeah, start advertising for it. So people know we're having it.
We need like working capital. Add some working capital up front.
Yeah.
Sure, we got a little bit of that.
Yeah. It's not tourism money.
Didn't you say you work for the town of Pembroke today?
Okay.
Might start another day.
Yeah,
So y'all loaded, man.
ABC's got it.
All right. Anybody else got any discussion they want to say here? You through?
I'm asking for more.
Actually, I can get another quote tomorrow. $1,000 at the stage.
How often are we
I mean,
using that?
It's the street festival and Christmas.
And they're wanting one set up down there in August.
So let me ask you this,
Why don't we
if
just-
we bought that, could you use it for the summer jam?
Well, that's what he's talking about, buying a small stage.
Yeah.
Talking about buying one for,
Lights,
Just figure on, yeah.
have lights on it.
could that one be used for the bands? No. Yeah.
that's
Could it
what-
be used for the bands?
Just stage.
Yeah.
I mean, just a.
Amira's wanting like what the city of Lumberton's got.
Yeah, that's nice.
And EMC's said that
They've agreed.
they'd agreed to do it.
Just waiting on the town.
But they're waiting on us. You see, if we already had that, we wouldn't be having to pay for a stage and all that.
What are they waiting on us for?
That's.
Yeah, that's what we need to get a sponsor for one of those things.
They already said we'd do the stage, like the hospital done for the city of
We
Lumberton.
can, but don't we need to do some work down there? Don't we need?
We do it all at one time.
They're doing.
You give us Scotland. Hell, don't give us money.
The
Scotland.
park you're wanting to put vendors in.
Yeah, if you
We got to
can't
have
put
work, we
vendors
got to
in
put
it,
work in
Hey,
there.
reach out to Scotland. You
if you
want reach
can't
out to
put
Scotland.
vendors in it, you can't put them.
Scotland Healthcare.
On.
Rob's healthcare too.
It's dangerous.
Don't.
That's what Myra said.
Yeah, reach out to Rob and say,
We're gonna test it with the vendors and
reach out,
we're gonna test it with
reach
the
out.
vendors.
They'll
I'm
do.
looking at bringing revenue
Yes,
to
Christian,
the
yes.
town.
The state, the building need to bring, the pad needs to be brought up the size of the road.
Hey, I'll be right.
Give
If you
back.
bring it up the size of the road, definitely more flood.
Got to have it to give.
Hey, Rob's the healthcare. They'll probably give at least 10,
Yeah.
hopefully.
All right. You do.
So we're authorizing Amira to go ahead and start reaching out to Lumber River
Yeah.
to see about our permanent stage.
That, I go and do that, like he said, we
Yeah.
could do all of that at the same time.
Yeah, we can get the grading done. The pad needs to be come up as high as the road.
Yeah.
Just like.
I'll give consent to the manager to look at opening up the park
We can get it up.
for vendors.
Yeah, we're gonna look at it and we'll be ready for it next year.
Next year.
Next year.
We'll be
July-
ready, we'll have
July the
our,
4th.
of next year, we'll
This
have the
year.
stage in, it's
You don't need a
It's too
stage.
late,
for it.
it's too late. It's too late. We got a lot, we got to do grading, we got to get our stage in, we got to get our and got to get all that stuff.
You're talking about that. I'm
You must be
talking
gonna go
about
up there
the
with your backhoe and
Uh,
bulldozer and dump truck and all that and do all that.
vendor. They have other events in there already.
It's something on the, you know, that we could look at. I don't know that we can pull it off in 3 weeks.
Look at the, I guess the layout of it, and see how it is on there with the drainage and stuff.
Like I say, you'd limit it to just the people with the tents and stuff up there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. And,
I'd say, yeah, look at something like that. So just a few, I want, just, I guess.
let's see how fast the manager can move. It's not,
It really wasn't, town
Well,
didn't have to do
we
anything.
said When we did the memorials, that we wouldn't use it anymore, because there are pavers in there, you know,
What's
names
pavers
on
at?
them. There have been some that have been broken.
Yeah.
Around that fountain, it's been messed up, so we just got away from using it for vendor space.
Yeah.
And we just use it for, we have that application that people come in and apply to use that space.
that's what we want to do, go back to vendor space.
Now, on
People can
the,
Use it.
the fence side of Myra, that should be fine, shouldn't it? On the fence side,
Well,
on the,
there
I mean, on
are-
the
there's
sidewalk.
benches there, and it's got the flags at the benches, for people who have purchased those. But around that fountain, those are those pavers with people's
Yeah,
names. on
nobody
it,
needs to
and
go there,
they're-
And that round covered thing, it needs to be tore all the way
It
down.
needs to be tore down.
That's
has-
What, the
It is.
gazebo?
that gazebo.
Or the gazebo.
The gazebo,
Gazebo's in bad shape.
it needs to be tore down.
Yeah.
Here's what we need to do. It needs to be where we got statues, different things of the town. Like, we gotta do something to it, like, history. We need to bring back something that town where people go visit and walk through there and look at memorial stuff besides what we've got.
That's why I said let's put some work into it and get it done. And
So,
get it
hey,
cleaned
yeah.
up, get it gravelled and graded and ready to go. for
Put some
next year.
cement there, put some stuff around it.
That's what you'd have to have a porta john.
We got that.
We had bathrooms up there and the
Yeah.
employees
Right
didn't
there.
want to keep
Come on.
them clean, so they tore them down.
Jurassic Park, right there.
If you use that, what if you do this here, have you stage on that end,
Down towards the church.
close to the church, have that as the stage. What Mr. Allen's talking about on this end, have your vendors, other half of it. So they're not gonna be over here on that, have the vendors on this end of it. Try to go zero down and have all vendors to the trees, where you're in that area. Leave that in as the entertainment.
I think it'd be a good money source for the town. Anything we can do to save taxpayers some.
I know you're getting away from the memorial part of it, well, you can still leave
But
that
the
there.
memorial's in the corner over there.
You can still leave
Yeah,
that there.
that's her. You,
Just- keep
And
everybody
that
away from
really
that.
needs to be revamped.
Yeah, it does.
It looks bad. Those seals look bad. That area needs to be.
We need to put a little work into
Yeah, we do.
it and get it right, get it ready.
Cause what was
I
that?
need
Yeah.
a motion to adjourn.
What? Hold on, was something decided on the vendor?
I think we need to look, Historical Society, we used to have one, might need to look at pushing that back out again. We really did need that for a town like ours. We do. We don't have a historical society. Let's go.
I have.
I'll
I
make a
have to,
motion on
but
that.
I'm not one of them.
Yes.
Talk to you.
Make a motion on those.
On
On
what?
what?
He said, go ahead. and move forward.
I'll make a
We
motion.
got a motion to do this.
Motion, you second it.
Second.
Let her adjourn. Thank you.
That was for this year. You need another motion to adjourn now.
Wait a minute, Chad made the motion to approve the, unplugged after five.
No, Ryan,
Ryan made it,
and I
and
seconded
you
it.
second. Okay,
He's still needing a motion to adjourn.
now we need a motion to adjourn. If y'all got the.
That's what I asked for, a motion to adjourn. I didn't ask for a
We
motion.
didn't have the motion now. We just say, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Okay,
Crazy.
now I need a motion to adjourn. Chad, you make a motion to-
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
and
About
Ryan.
time.
You just give me your $2,500
When was the
donation.
historical society? When was it depleted?
All in.
My grandma was on historical society.